My name is David Daniel Ball, and these are the headlines for Tuesday, the 27th of January, 2009. Finance crisis claims 85,000 jobs and brings down a government. Copycats? ATM bandits strike again. Italy PM under fire over rape gaffe. Deal to reduce Japanese whaling, with a catch. Man found shot dead on the Gold Coast. Paramedic charged in Travolta extortion plot. Taxpayers' $158,000 City Rail cab bill. Ivan Milat cuts off finger and tries to post it. Cyclone on track towards Pilbara coast. From Alan Jones, Labour's election chances are gone if Robertson gets his way. Labour's credibility is truly on the line in New South Wales if it goes ahead with plans to give infamous union heavyweight John Robertson the job of police minister. My comment is, good riddance. From Piers Akerman, let's talk about the realities, Mr. Dodson. Newly named Australian of the Year, Mick Dodson certainly knows how to grab a headline, a feat he's perfected over years of so-called Indigenous activism. My comment: it is fascinating to me that the handpicked poster boy made a comment and Rudd said no about thinking or discussion. It was never going to be easy for Rudd and government because his populist entry made him accountable to special interest groups. But the size of the success of the push meant he didn't lose any of them as he might reasonably have expected. Now he owes a lot for people with leverage and many at cross purposes. Specifically, the Aboriginal issue is a problem for him. The racism inherent to the issue is appalling. I have Aboriginal ancestry, but I was born overseas, and so according to the ALP, who care about such things, I am not Aboriginal, as I'm not a recognizable member of the community. Nor do I wish to be, because I'm not. But it would have meant legal aid would have taken my case and not ignored it recently. I would have had better access to Centrelink, and the government would have gotten into trouble for lying to me in the Senate. They still might. I love Australia and celebrate Australia Day on January the 26th because it represents, for me, the flowering of Australia in 1788, when the land became a home for many ethnicities and races and not a ghetto for some misplaced utopian ideal. My great-great-great-great-granddad, Maxai Ying, came to Australia in 1818 and married the daughter of two convict forgers from Ireland. It was a new world, a new colony with new dreams. We should celebrate the hope, the love, and the diversity. From Tim Blair, shoot them. It looks like a scene from a surreal post-apocalyptic film, a polar bear and her cub stranded on an iceberg floating past the House of Parliament. But the creatures floating down the Thames today were sculptures launched in the river to raise awareness of climate change. Raise awareness of what? To assist the unaware, the Mail offers another image. The caption, this 2007 picture of a polar bear stranded on eroded ice floes, has become the iconic image of the impact of climate change on the Arctic creatures. Everything in the caption, aside from the claim that it is iconic, which is only true due to warminist repetition of lies, is completely wrong, including the date of the photograph. It was taken in 2004, during summer. Take that and float it down the Thames. Molar Bowler. We've already seen a case of waterside, and now a New York environmentalist is particularly choosy about public transport. The frantic passenger who bit a veteran driver's arm was upset, and his bus wasn't a hybrid, he said Thursday. She came on the bus, and she waited more than an hour for a hybrid, said MTA driver Peter Williams, 42. I said, I'm not in control of what bus is assigned to me. Then the eco lady, Sheila Bolar, attacked. Bolar chomped through a jacket, a sweater, and a thick shirt, causing a bruise and swelling, but not breaking skin. Nobody expects the RSPCA. These Labradors seem a little bit on the chunky side. Not that there's anything wrong with a tubby dog, they look kind of happy, in fact, and some patting can come in handy when you live in the cold, cold England. Now, read on to discover the fate of those cheerful hounds. From Andrew Bolt, Counting on the NIMBY green. Spin, spin, spin. The federal government has helped draw up a secret deal to break the whaling deadlock by letting Japan kill more whales in the North Pacific in return for killing fewer in the Southern Ocean. Rudd the socialist. Terry McCann is as worried as me by the rush by governments to throw our money at the financial gorilla. There are all sorts of dangers that flow from it, not the least is that governments and central bankers have the solution. It's just a matter of pressing enough of the right buttons often enough. So if another $10 billion here, another $1,000 billion there in the US doesn't work, and even more dangerously, immediately, well, just throw another $10 billion or $1,000 billion at it. This is made more dangerous by the arrogant assumption that we know better than those poor sods who messed up in the Great Crash of 1929 and so dumped the world in the Great Depression through most of the 1930s. We wouldn't make the same mistakes, we're just too clever. We know you have to flood the financial system with liquidity and deficit spend like there's no tomorrow. This arrogance begs a rather small but rather fundamental question. If we are so clever, how did we get into this gigantic mess in the first place? Gillard evicted from the lodge. We sure were getting used to the idea of a fresh female at the face of the lodge. In the 420 days since Labour won office in the 2007 election, Julia Gillard has spent 102 days, or almost a quarter of Kevin Rudd's Prime Minister, at the helm. No dissing the Prez, now that it's Obama. The Age imposes this headline on a Paul Krugman article. Memo Republicans, Obama won, so get over it. A prize to anyone who can find an Age article with the headline Memo Democrats, Bush won, so get over it. Now Australia Day is the problem. First, it was just the sorry that stood between us and reconciliation. Now that the sorry is said, the agenda moves inevitably to another hurdle. Australia Day. Just minutes after receiving his honour on Sunday night, Professor Mick Dodson said the day of national celebration should be shifted because many Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples regard January 26th as Invasion Day. Speaking earlier on radio, he said not allowing a dialogue between a new date would be another act of exclusion towards Indigenous people. To his credit, Kevin Rudd has answered this with an unusually crisp answer, one that would have been hooted down as insensitive and racist had it come from John Howard. To our Indigenous leaders and those who call for a change into our National Day, let me say a simple, respectful, but straightforward no. To which Dodson has replied with the left's usual refusal to take no for an answer. Professor Dodson told journalists he was not worried by the Prime Minister's remarks, but urged him not to close the door to having a conversation about this. The left love having a conversation kept open until it reaches the conclusion they want. Then the debate is over and over. In this case, though, no answer will ever be enough for the reconciliation industry whose very existence depends on a grievance.